Hey, how's it going? I don't know why I said it like that. I sound like rice gum. But anyway, nah, I'm just kidding. So, welcome. I'm thinking about making this a new series that's a thing that's gonna happen called CB's DRMs. Basically, it's just a little talk thingy McBobber where I just talk about my dreams. You know, that may sound boring, but you haven't heard my dreams before. For example, I had a dream one time I was in a grocery store. I think some old lady, like, probably stole my can of beans, maybe some dildos, who knows, whatever it was. And I think I ended up throwing her out of a window, and then a bunch of, like, cops or whatever started coming after me, and I started throwing them all over the place. I was just really strong, and, you know, it was a good time. But that's just extremely a minute example of what's going to be going on here. My dreams are absolutely wild. I have them written down. I have them scribed into a clay block. It was handed down to me by God himself. But anyway, so we're gonna start off with the one I like to call the Airstrike Freeway 2080 Ti. So this one basically started off, I was on a dirt bike, and apparently I had this friend. I had no clue who he actually was, but he was my friend. He had a $10,000 mountain bike, and it basically looked like the bikes from, you know, Dr. Seuss, I think. Oh no, it's called, shit, the one with Grinch. Yeah, the Grinch, that one. And anyway, yeah, it was really long. It was golden, huge wheels. It was really light though. It's heavy but light. It was probably, I'd say, maybe a 10-foot long bike with only two wheels on it. It didn't even have two seats, it just had one seat towards the front, and it just looked like that. And it had like 10K on the side of it, just to show that it was $10,000. Um, anyway, basically we're just driving around this cul-de-sac, and we find this garage sale, and we see this generator, and it's really shiny, and we thought it was a graphics card, because graphics cards are the size of generators, we all know this. And it looked like a 2080 Ti that was chrome plated. And we're like, hey, is that for sale? And they're like, no, that's a generator. You can't have that. I'm like, all right. So then all of a sudden, I woke up in probably a Middle East state. It was really sandy, and it was super dry. There's a lot of dead, skinny trees everywhere, and a lot of just odd stuff going on. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of army people came around. And give me just a moment. It seems our music has been screwed off, I guess. Uh, hmm. Sure, that works. Alright, let's get this going. So, what's next? Yeah, a bunch of army guys started coming, and they were my friends, I guess. And we're just walking through the dunes, and I'm not quite sure what the mission was, because I all of a sudden looked down and I had an M16 in my hand, and it was a very confusing time. All of a sudden I see some red smoke coming around, and there's some airstrikes, and everyone just disappears. I was the only one, and it's almost like a Call of Duty game, you know, when you get hit and your screen turns red a little bit. That basically happened to me in the dream. And yeah, what happened after that? Let me think. That's what it was. So I show up at some kind of base. I was like going through the dunes and everything, and I see some green and this big driveway. And I show up at this giant house. It's kind of medium sized, I guess. It looked like a rectangle, like think of like a 4x16 Minecraft house. That's kind of what it looked like, but in real life, I guess. Um, there's 3 other people in there. I guess they were my friends. They weren't really. I had no clue who they are, but they're my friends in there. And I look out the backyard and there's a corn maze. Well, let's just call it the cornfield, but it was kind of a maze. And inside of the house, I was playing Beat Saber. Like, I'm just kind of teleporting memories around. That's basically what really happens in my dreams. But yeah, I was inside the house playing Beat Saber, and all of a sudden, King of the Hill starts playing in the headset, like not the theme song, like the actual movie. And then the 3 people came out, and they're like, "Hey, I want to watch that." And they're like, "Okay, I don't really feel like setting it up." They're like, "Oh, but we want to watch it." I'm like, "All right, whatever, fuck you." So basically, I set up King of the Hill on the big TV, and in order to do that, you have to plug in a SATA cable. Not like the SATA you plug into a graphics card, like the SSD/HDD SATA cable. And I look to my left after I'm done setting it up, and there's this girl. She was butt-ass naked. She was getting pussy juice on the floor, and that didn't make me very happy. Like, she was full on just doing the splits, making a snail trail, and I wasn't happy about that. It wasn't even my hardwood floor, but I got mad and I just went outside. And I started killing zombies in the cornfield with a trench gun, and I had Juggernog and a Bowie knife. That's basically all that happens. Like, I was just killing zombies. I guess that's how you blow off steam. Then I went back to the house, and there was a party going on. There's a sandstorm in the background, but not in the sandy area. It was funky. But then it just went away after I was done telling this adult, like, "Hey, there's 3 people that were having a threesome and vaping in that house. And that house is too fancy to have such treachery happening in it." So he didn't really care too much. Why would he? Um, I don't know how old they were. God knows, I don't. Um, so then I noticed all of a sudden some random girl just ran into the cornfield. I guess she was like sad about something. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Then it started raining really hard. Like, I was wearing this baseball cap and it was getting soaking wet. So I ran inside. I'm like, alright. It started raining hella hard. This girl's out there without a jacket or anything. I'm gonna go get her a jacket. So I went in the house, got 2 jackets, and it stopped raining by the time I came out. So that was really confusing. Then all of a sudden, hey, I don't need these jackets. They're gone. They're just gone. They're out of my hands, and they don't exist anymore. So after that happened, I went up to a Jeep. Apparently it was ours. It was a green Jeep, and there were some people just rummaging through it. I'm like, "Hey, that's not your Jeep, pal. You need to get lost." And they're like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And then I looked down. I'm like, I'm super skinny. I have no muscle, and I forgot how to fight. And I'm like, well, shit, I guess nothing. So I went down and told that same dude I told about the orgy. And he went up there and kicked their asses. He's like, "Hey, get your asses out of there." And they're like, "What are you gonna do about it?" Once again. And he's like, "I'll show you." So then he, like, full on John Wick style, beats the shit out of these people, then turns into Spider-Man and starts shooting webs at their face. And if you've ever seen, like, the reverse bear trap from Saw, like the Saw movies, there's one of those on the dudes, like, in the spider webs as he's shooting at his face, and they disappeared, and I guess they got knocked out. So I guess that was pretty cool. Then we drove out to the city. God knows where the city came from in the middle of the dunes, but it was there. By God, it was there. And it looked like just a normal city. There's a lot of highways, a lot of intersections, and They were going somewhere I didn't like. Oh, no, no, no. We forgot someone at the house. And I'm like, we can't leave that person behind. I think it was a girl. And so I go back. I walk all the way back. Fortunate Son was playing the entire time I was walking back and running across the freeways and intersections. And that was really weird because it wasn't playing from a speaker, it was just in my ears. If there's a radio inside of your head, that's basically what it would sound like. And I get back to the house, I'm like, man, I gotta piss. So I took my piss. It was a godly piss. A piss out of a movie. It lasted at least 10 seconds or less. I might not have even went, I don't really remember. And so I found an iPhone, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if it's unlocked. I unlock it, and I'm like, oh, let's go through the gallery, because that's what people do when they first find a phone. And I saw nudes. They weren't really nudes, honestly, just picture of boobs. But it's like from way up, they're laying on the ground, and the camera's like being held by someone above them, I think. And there's two girls in that picture, and I'm like, huh, I need a closer look. So I went to go bring the phone closer to my face so I can get a good look. And then I woke up. And that was pretty much that dream. So, yeah, I mean, this is a new series type thing I've been thinking about doing, and this is kind of like the kickoff video, just chilling, relaxing, and talking about my crazy dreams that make absolutely zero sense. So if that's something you'd want to see more of, leave a like or a comment. I really don't care, I'll probably do it anyway despite, but if you guys like it, I'll do it more than I would originally have thought of even doing it. But yeah, that's about it. See ya.